Hey guys, this is Josh again. Today we're going to take a look at the ArcGIS interface and some of the automated mapping components that are included in the proposal. We're going to be bouncing back and forth between a couple different pieces of software. We're going to be using ArcMap, which is an Esri product. We're also going to be using Surfer, and we are going to be using Equus Professional, all three kind of interchangeably. So we're going to jump right in. Some of the common maps that we make are the ChemBox or DataBox or spider plot diagrams. They all kind of have different names, but it's the same thing. It's the traditional map that we're used to seeing with the analytical results plotted next to each location. Then we're going to jump into generating some quick uh, uh, color ramps for chemical analysis, and then we're going to jump into the Surfer component to export out to ArcMap so that we could quickly render some either potentiometric surfaces or in this case, we're going to be contouring some benzene results. So I'm going to jump right to it. With Equus Professional, you get installed, there's a very own toolbar here for Equus for ArcGIS. You simply connect to your facility, same username and password and everything else. But then this gives you access to all of these tools here. You can see there's some components in here for viewing lithology, fence diagrams, your boring logs, and all that information can be brought in through this interface as well. Those can certainly be set up, but today we're going to be mostly focusing around the EasyView components to show some analytical results, as well as those spider diagrams as well. So without further ado, we'll jump right into the spider diagrams. So the way this interface works is it basically toggles automatically back and forth between the ArcMap interface or the ArcMap software that you're used to using as a GIS operator and Equus Professional so that it's seamless. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, we've got a saved report already, and you can set these up so that it pulls from prescribed date ranges and analytical results and locations. I've got this one set up so that we could indicate which ones we're after. So I'm going to go ahead and select some pretty typical things here, normal environmental samples. Within groundwater, we're going to keep the whole date range. Most ChemBox diagrams include all available data. After that, there's not much else to pull from other than to select which analytes you're after. I've already got table 5-1 set up in here. Those use the names and abbreviations that you guys have in your report, so I'll go ahead and include that one. After that, we just hit the go button, and it's going to go ahead and start assembling those data boxes for us. Again, it's pretty hands-off other than going in and specifying the date ranges and the groundwater monitoring wells that you need to look at and setting up the chemical names the way you want in the order in which you want to see them. And you can see it automatically plots them out. Now, these are full annotated images here in ArcGIS and entities. So right now it's scaling them up pretty large because I'm in the map interface. But if you wanted to have your title block in here and set more specific formatting requirements for your tables in terms of the way they look and feel. It handles everything in terms of formatting bold for detects or color coding for exceedance as well. Really customizable in terms of the way that these look. Right now it's kind of got this call out box that looks like a bubble message, but again, that's fully customizable to be more modern or sleek if that's your preference. But as you can see, it handles the dirty work in terms of your analytical results get brought in. There's no room for typing mistakes or data entry mistakes. It's feeding directly from the database, and all of these entities are fully editable and movable too. So what we find is it really cuts down on a lot of time, both in terms of QA/QC procedures, but more importantly, and just in terms of the sheer volume of time it takes to put all this information into a data table format on a map. And the GIS operator really, at this point, will spend their time basically moving each one of these boxes and bubbles to look good on a map. And so they get to spend their time making maps look good instead of worrying about typing in information that might be incorrect. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off that annotation layer here, and we're going to pull in some other data sets. So again, right here from the toolbar that's installed within ArcMap, I'm going to go ahead and select some analytical results, and we're going to display up some benzene data here. Again, this is just another way that we can interface with it. There's no right or really wrong way. It all comes down to kind of operator preference and procedural workflows that kind of function or work for you. In this case, we're going to target a very specific event. So I'm going to say starting June 1st, let's say the 2008 event, and we'll back it all the way out to June 16th, 2008. So we're going for a synoptic event here. So a single groundwater sampling instance. And we can go ahead and select our groundwater results, June 2008. And in this case, instead of using the entire table 5-1 group of analytes, we're going to go ahead and select a specific analyte. So here we're going to look at benzene. Again, we just hit the go button. Here's all of our benzene results from that date range. It took 0 seconds to pull all that information. And for the GIS operator, again, there's no typing, there's no anything else they need to do. They just hit open in ArcGIS. Pulls up another menu here so that we could go ahead and tell it how we want to display that information. So the X coordinate is the X coordinate, the Y coordinate is the Y coordinate. Go ahead and pull the result value in here. Let's use graduated colors, log option or not log option, symbolize your non-detect separately. Really gives you a lot of control here in terms of how you want to display this data on a map. We're just going to hit next, and it's going to plot all of that information out for us exactly how we wanted to see it. So there are our benzene results, kind of color coding in here. You see they plotted up right where they should. And if we hover over them, it's giving us the results as well. So real quickly, that's just another way to get information on the maps quickly, easily, seamlessly. They're now available for labeling. They're available for all types of other information as well within ArcMap to drill down and analyze it. We're going to bounce over to Equus Professional now. Very similar interface here. Again, we're going to access it directly through the software though, through Equus Professional rather than through that interface, just to kind of show off some of the quick contouring options. And again, these can be used for potentiometric surfaces or doing contouring of analytes and groundwater. So that's what we're going to do. Again, we're just going to pull some analytical results here. Very similar interface to what we were just seeing in terms of how to select everything. We're going to go ahead and select the same thing, normal environmental samples. We want to look at groundwater. We're going to go after that same event. So we'll do 6/1/2008. And we're going to jump all the way out to 6/16/2008. And again, we'll take a quick look at benzene data here. And we just hit go. So each one of these can be pre-formatted so that you don't have to work through and go through and make all of those selections. In this case, you know, I wanted to kind of show off how you can select them, but when we set these reports up, they'll basically be ready to go and named so that it makes sense for you. So that it'll be a one-click option of, you know, figure number 4-1 for the quarterly monitoring report, and it'll be pre-selected. The analytes will be all in there for you, and there's really no selecting that's required. From here, we're going to go ahead and do a quick XYZ chart right within Equus Professional. It contours that data up here. Not pretty, not what we're after. This isn't really what we're looking for in terms of professional figure quality. But there is this send to surfer button up here in the top left. So we're going to take all of that data, fully automates it. I don't have to open Surfer. I don't have to do anything. You can see it open Surfer up automatically for me. And this is what it produces for us. So from here, our workflow, the way we've used this previously, is we can use this to kind of create a rough draft of the potentiometric surface or the isoconcentration lines. We can, you know, go ahead and fine tune it, remove the axes from this where we need to. and even go in and edit some of the way it's being contoured, or some of the you know, the functions here, including the labels, and set that to the way that you guys want, basically each time. So this is usually what we do in terms of a quick rough draft. It's in Surfer. That means it's geo-referenced, and from here, to get it to show up in ArcMap, all we really have to do is export it as a shapefile. And you see Esri shapefile is an option here. So what we usually do is kind of use this semi-automated workflow to give the geologists and hydrogeologists a very rough draft, but data-driven draft of accurate information of what's going on according to what the data says. And then we let them kind of fine-tune it, adjust it, draw the contours on top of this themselves. But this really gives them a good idea of what the data is telling us, so that they can make their appropriate edits and determinations for either groundwater flow or what that plume is doing within the groundwater. So that's the way the mapping interfaces work. Again, the AutoCAD interface is very similar. We can jump into that once we get into the project, but I really wanted to cover that ArcMap kind of semi-automated workflow. And really, this is where we're going to see a lot of time savings, is you know, reducing the amount of effort it takes to generate those tables and reducing the amount of effort it takes to contour things up. You can see from this perspective, to have somebody well-versed and trained on how to use the interface should be able to quickly rattle off, you know, 20 potentiometric surfaces or 30 groundwater plumes with relative ease. It's all drop down, it's all selectable menus, telling it how you want the data to display, and then putting it on a map or a PDF document so that your geologist can mark it up. Again, if you have any questions with the proposal, feel free to reach out at any time, and we'd be happy to answer any additional questions you guys have. Thanks.